Wanted to thank my panelists for joining me. We've had some great conversations over the last week or so on how to make this session most beneficial for the folks in the audience. We have a wonderful mix of sponsors and capital providers here to talk about how sponsors can attract equity financing, and also some of the governance aspects that go with the type and number of equity financing sources that will go into your deal. So I'll ask the panelists to introduce themselves here in one moment. My name is Mike Miller. I'm a partner at Holland Knight. We are an independent sponsor group and a law firm. We do a bunch of independent sponsor deals, and if you haven't heard of our HK Deal Flow program, especially when it comes to finding deals and finding equity capital, come visit our booth. It's a great resource for sponsors and capital providers alike. So with that, we'll go ahead, start with Mike here, and have our panelists introduce themselves, please.
Hey everyone, Mike Lonergan, Georgia Oak out of Atlanta. I'm an independent sponsor. Been doing this a minute. Not linear growth, right? It's been kind of a 12-year overnight success story. And this conference, by the way, is not linear growth. This is really cool showing and a great venue. So excited to see where this goes in the next couple of years. But we invest in the Southeast, $2 to $8 million EBITDA businesses, control and non-control. And I've made a lot of mistakes that I'm going to share with you today. So excited to be here.
Good afternoon. My name is Brinda Yohannan. I'm a managing director at First Haven Capital. We provide passive minority equity investments, check sizes of 2 to 5 million in lower middle market buyouts, partnering with independent sponsors and funded sponsors. The only criteria we have is deal size. We look at companies with at least 3 million of EBITDA and above. Other than that, we're pretty industry agnostic. We've done 10 deals to date with independent sponsors, so we enjoy partnering with independent sponsors.
Hi, I'm Rick Perkal. I'm the CEO and managing partner of Firelight Capital Partners. We are an independent sponsor focused on branded consumer transactions. We do deals that range anywhere from 3 to 15 million of EBITDA. We have a little bit of an unusual format. I had a small deal fund underneath me when I was at Irving Place Capital, doing lower middle market branded consumer deals. When I left Irving Place, I recreated it with Firelight as a partnership with a marketing branding firm. So they're involved with us in creating brand architecture for branded consumer companies we invest in. And we've done 4 deals so far, everything from pets to women's handbags to arts and crafts and beauty tools. And so we've been around for about 6 years.
What about beauty tools for pets? Any of that?
We haven't gotten into beauty tools for pets, but I have suggested because I have a lot of knowledge about pets. But thank you, Mike.
There we go. Just if you need investment ideas.
Exactly.
I'm
See,
Steve.
they're already creating deal flow.
I'm Steve Altman with Cornerstone Capital Partners. We're an independent sponsor. We're industry agnostic, but we do a lot of deals in building products. We've been around a long time. I did my first independent sponsor deal in 2006. Our sweet spot is 3 to 10 million of EBITDA.
Hi, I'm Clifford Meijer. Hello? See if this works. There we go. Hi, I'm Clifford Meijer. I'm a partner at Headway Capital Partners. We are a London-based private equity firm with an office in Boston with a particular focus on providing equity capital to independent sponsors. We're investing out of our 5th fund, 630 million euro fund, and we invest between $15 to $25 million per deal into mostly lower middle market companies that have usually a minimum of 8 to 10 million of EBITDA. So we can either be the sole equity capital or part of a syndicate, and we are industry agnostic, investing both Europe and in the US.
Great. So we'll start with you, actually, Cliff. So hold on to that microphone. So first we want to kind of talk about what sponsors can do to be kind of most attractive to their equity capital providers. So when you're initially contacted by a sponsor who has a deal or is looking to start a relationship, what does your decision tree look like with respect to that sponsor with that deal, and what boxes need to be checked from your perspective on your diligence?
Sure. So it starts with the deal size, company size. As I mentioned, our profile of what we're looking for. We want to see a sector that's resilient and interesting to us, that has some growth potential, but also as importantly, who our manager is, because we are a passive investor once we close a deal. We don't take board seats to underlying companies. We work through our managers on every transaction. So as a result, we need to make sure that our managers have a demonstrated attributable track record of principal investing, either as an independent sponsor or coming off a senior position at a private equity firm. So it's a combination of company, deal return metrics, sector, and then GP quality.
Great. And Brinda, also from the capital provider side, when an independent sponsor is thinking about approaching you, how baked does the underlying strategy need to be? When is too early? Kind of what should they have done, and what are you kind of looking for from them in terms of deal specifics to make your investment decision, or at least have a productive conversation?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. So I don't have a perfect answer to this. It kind of depends a little bit on the deal. If it's a proprietary deal where an independent sponsor has done a lot of prior work in the industry and have an investment thesis, then I would say earlier is better. We're happy to do introductory calls, quick calls to provide initial feedbacks and red flags that we might have. Being very responsive is important for us. So earlier the better in those cases. However, if it's a deal where the first time you learn about the company is through a SIM in a process, then I would say closer to an LOI would be where we'd want to have that conversation. That's in terms of timing. In terms of the two questions, or in my mind, that we always ask an independent sponsor when we see a deal is, one is what excites them about the deal. So that goes to their investment thesis, why they like the industry, why they like the business, a lot of the characteristics that Cliff mentioned, and what their value creation thesis is. So that's the first question. And the second question is, why are they the right owners for this business? Because as a passive investor, again, we're very dependent on our sponsor to lead the value creation, and want to understand their track record and the resources that they're bringing that would help them implement that value creation. So those are the two main questions that I would say you should have baked before you come to us. Obviously, a view on valuation and the management team is nice to have, but then again, that all depends on the deal itself.
Great. That's very helpful. So turning to some questions for the sponsors here. Obviously the best capital is coming from Cliff and Brinda, passive, big checks, great. But Steve, you've had experience raising capital from a bunch of different types of sources: family offices, high net worth individuals, pensions, institutional private equity. How have you determined what is the right type of investor